Kelso, executive editor for Nation's Restaurant News. Day one, morning of day one from the National Restaurant Association show in Chicago. I'm with Eric Blumenthal. He's the Senior Vice President of Food Service, Commercial, and Growth at Coca-Cola. I'm glad I finally got to meet you.
I know, and it's day one.
It's stupid that we've not met before.
No, but we are now.
Yes, you and I were talking before camera about one of the topics in particular that it has come to a head again, especially in the past year and a half in earnest, and that's value, where consumers are very clearly pulling back. But operators are still dealing with input costs that are, historically high in some cases.
Yeah, listen, I think to me, it's quite simply, they're going to define it as what you get, what I get as a consumer versus what I pay. What I would push our operator partners to think more about is the what you get side of it. How can you deliver that experience? Because when you see who's winning, they are really innovating and ideating off of the what you get side.
Sure.
And the data's there. So I think when you think about the financial pressure, National Restaurant Association had some data since January of 2020, menu prices are up 26%. I can confidently say that what you get, the experience is not kept up. That's where I'd anchor first in the question is our operators have to get really clear on, yes, the pricing matters, the financial piece matters, but don't miss the importance of both sides of that equation because it's not the long game. The long game is that experience and how you can provide that to the guests.
And so to your point, this redefinition of value, you can tidy it up in a nice, sexy price point.
Yep.
But what else do they need to be thinking about?
Yeah, you hit it. I think across segments, convenience has and always is going to be important, and convenience looks very different today than it did 20 years ago. But I think you have to show up the right way digitally. How do you make sure that your team members, if you're an operator, that you're leaning in and ensuring that your crew understands the role that they're playing? Proximity as we think about delivery, I think continuing to innovate on the menu, like adding some things. We've got this interesting intersection where people want healthy, but they also want indulgence. Like, how does that play? Oftentimes you think about the masses or the many, get really clear with the micro, like who's in front of you? Who's your core customer? Who do you want that core customer to be? And you've got to reverse engineer the value proposition backwards once you get clear on that.
Interesting. So you're saying lean in on your core versus going after customer acquisition.
I think you have to, because I'm not saying you don't need to have a hot price point or a value bundle, but the reality is that's going to bring traffic in, hopefully, if you do it right.
Yeah.
But what's going to keep them coming back is that experience. Did they get quality? Was it fast? Was it on time? Did someone smile at me? People want to be seen.
Yeah.
You've been around a long time, as I have, and I've had the great fortune to work with, regional brands, national brands, global brands. I go to their conferences and you hear from main stage how important it is, but it's very rarely executed down.
Sure.
When you have such a large system, it's hard to do that. And it's even hard to do it if you have one restaurant.
Yeah.
Because it's other people, and how do you get them there? That's one of the reasons for us. Last year, we created something called Coca-Cola Leader Lab. It's all emotional intelligence type of training, and they can go through that and get certified. But that was something we did last year to really help come alongside our partners in the industry, because these are the future leaders of the industry, number one. And number two, I just think that emotional side, the emotional intelligence side is something we've got to build up in that front line.
That training, that staffing piece, one of the ways to improve this value proposition. What are some other ways?
Well, I think a big way, let's start with just the menu, right? I think you've got to make sure that you're really on target with the consumer that's coming in. Margin pressure are crazy. So ideally you're finding something that's a healthy margin for the operator, but it's craveable, it's exciting. It's hard. It's hard, but you know what? I think the things are out there. So as you think about the core menu, how do you get tighter? How do you optimize? And also, how do you kind of promote and get things out there that are going to bring people in that are exciting?
Do you have any examples of, maybe some operators that are hitting the sweet spot right now on this really challenging value equation?
Yeah, I mean, a couple come to my mind. I think, one that's kind of a standard, Chick-fil-A has an incredible just beverage lineup. The value, they're not playing in value, but what they do is I think they do a really nice job of, they have built their kind of authentic voice around their seasonal beverages that you can expect. So they're going to be known for a peach milkshake and like the peppermint milkshake. but like there's a couple other seasons that are going to rotate, and they're going to take a flavor and they're going to execute that flavor across sparkling soft drinks, across teas, across lemonades, right? And treats. They
Yeah.
put it in ice cream. They're just going to lean into, look, we're going to be really strong here, but we got to have a premium beverage lineup.
Yeah.
And if you do it right, like Chick-fil-A has done it, you can, it's a multi-year journey to continue to innovate off that platform.
Sure. What are you measuring then? You know, the impact here. What metrics are you looking at when you're bringing these new premium products online?
Yeah. Our benchmark is if 100 people are walking into that restaurant and today 58 are buying a revenue generating beverage, how do we help get it to 59 or 60? That's what our teams are held accountable to. And because that's what we want to do, we want to manage that category. And it's all about that one incremental revenue generating beverage and finding blind spots. Okay. Maybe it's a sparkling water. Maybe it's, hey, you don't have a premium lemonade, but we're going to help them assess based on their customer and our portfolio of leading brands. How can we make sure that we help you guys out there?
I like that slow and steady uptick.
Yep. And so that value proposition is really rooted in 5 key areas for us. So operational effectiveness, it's loved brands, but we continue to lean in and do extensions. This is an example of like, how do we make sure that we're following the consumer? Sprite plus tea, like very strange. It was a TikTok trend from last year.
It was interesting.
Interesting's okay. But it's worth trying, right? So like loved brands is really important. Marketing excellence. So we want to make sure our assets like the Olympics or World Cup or local assets are activated. Thought leadership is really important to us. That's what you were talking about. So we have a suite of insights and data. We have proprietary, we have partnerships with other companies, and we want to make sure we're always rooted in that consumer. What is the consumer need? Where is that at? And everything is really locked into there. And then it's about innovation, and we're going to continue to innovate. But that's kind of where we're at.
As evidence. I heard consumers want tea and dirty soda.
They do. They do.
I heard a rumor. I read it somewhere.
Somewhere. You're breaking news.
This was fun. I certainly appreciate the perspective.
Enjoyed it.
And keep up the great work. We obviously need these thoughts and data, insights, all of this to get through this.
I loved it. So. We both serve an amazing industry, and we love it. I know you guys do too. But thanks for having me.
Yeah, have a great show.
Appreciate it.